Hey guys, welcome back to the Gears and Tool channel. Today we're doing a quick review on the SOG Power Access Deluxe edition, which comes with the sheath in the box, the tool, and then the bit kit that comes with the deluxe version. So let's go ahead and take a look at the sheath, and then we'll dive into the tool, and we'll take a closer look at the bit kit when we get to the features of the tool that utilize the different bits. So first we have the sheath, and I have to say I'm not overly impressed with this sheath. First of all, it's got a huge Velcro pad here. It's just like this unnecessarily large flap, and I'm just a little disappointed. It just seems like a lot of extra bulk that you don't need. You also have this really large like flashlight thing on the side, which I think a lot of people might like if they use a flashlight or something like that. Personally, for me though, I just carry my flashlight on the side of my hip. The bit kit just fits right inside. You do want to make sure to take the kind of bulge side there and put it in first, and that way when you put the narrow end of the power access tool, both pieces will fit on the bottom of the sheath. It's a pretty snug fit, and again that flap is just huge. It comes all the way down to the very bottom. I just feel like it's a lot of unnecessary bulk that you really don't need on a multi-tool sheath. Let's take a look at the size and weight of this multi-tool. The length of this tool is 4.5 inches. The width of this tool is 1.325 inches. And the thickness of this tool is 0.67 inches. While this tool is a little bit longer than some of the other options out there, it is a little bit thinner as well. I would say the size of this tool squarely puts it in the medium duty category. All right, let's go ahead and take a look at how much the SOG Power Access weighs. So for just a multi-tool, we're weighing in at 8.3 ounces. And then if we include the bit kit, we weigh right at 11.25 ounces. And then of course, if we're carrying the bit kit, we're probably going to need the sheath. So the sheath on top of that weighs 12.5 ounces. So not the lightest. So that's lighter than the Leatherman Wave and some of the other options out there. So pretty good as far as weight goes. Arguably one of the biggest selling points of this multi-tool are the pliers. And I have to say, they don't disappoint. I was definitely impressed with this set of pliers. A few of the things that I noticed right off the bat is the handles have nice rounded edges, so it's really comfortable to use. The frame doesn't have a lot of give. And the geared mechanism here that gives you the mechanical advantage works really well. I was pleasantly surprised. I was a little worried since, you know, it's essentially pieces of sheet metal on either side, but it's super rigid. It feels really locked in place. There's no wiggle, there's no play. It definitely feels like a solid set of pliers. Just a quick overview of the features. You have your wire crimpers back here. You have your hard wire cutters up here. And then the wire cutters themselves are huge. They're super long, and I'm going to show you in a minute here how that's a big advantage. You have the bolt gripping section here, which is just like, you know, on a Leatherman and a Surge. And then I was really glad to see they did not try to put wire crimpers in the nose of the needle nose pliers. You have a nice flat working surface, which works great. And these wire trimmers have significantly more cutting area than you're going to find on most other multi-tools. For example, I have a standard 3-strand extension cord cable here. And using that mechanical advantage, you have no trouble cutting through it. And while it doesn't quite cut all the way through, if you look closely, it does cut all 3 sets of wires. So all you have to do is just tear the nub off and you're done. So a pair of wire trimmers can cut through a 3-strand extension cord. I don't know of any other multi-tool that can match that. That's really impressive. One of the features that attracted me to this particular multi-tool is all the interior tools are accessible without opening up the tool like you have to do for a Leatherman and digging around. All the tools are on the outside of the handles without having to open up the pliers. So let's go ahead and take a look at the different tools available. The first of the 4 one-handed accessible tools is the 2.75 inch long knife blade, which doesn't come out very smoothly. And additionally, I've noticed that a lot of these tools tend to clump on the inside, coming out when you try to access just one of them. The knife blade is 2.75 inches long. It's made of a 5CR15 MOV steel. This is similar to a 440 steel, which is going to be harder and hold an edge longer than a 420 HC steel that other multi-tool makers like Leatherman are using on most of their blades. The blade is a little bit thinner, and again, like I said, it doesn't come out super smoothly. It is locking, but there is a little bit of wiggle in the lock. It doesn't feel like it's going to slip out or come loose, but the lever lock on the side here isn't a super tight fit in the notch that's provided in the back of the knife blade. On the other side of the handle from the plain edge knife, you have the serrated edge knife. And again, kind of the same issues I had with the plain edge knife. Some of the other tools want to come out when you are doing the one-handed deployment with this blade. And the lock isn't super tight. It doesn't feel like it's going to slip loose or anything like that, but there is a little bit of wiggle. I think for the serrated edge blade, that's probably fine. You're probably just going to be using it to cut things like rope and other coarse materials. But on that plain edge blade, it would be really nice if the blade had a nice secure lockup. The side-to-side motion on the frame is non-existent. It is very snug in the side-to-side motion. It's only in the up and down that it seems like the lock's a little bit loose. On the other handle, the one-handed accessible tools are the saw, which this saw is a little bit shorter than what you're going to find on something like the Leatherman Wave. I do have to give some credit to SOG. They did a good job tapering down the spine of this saw to make sure that it's not going to bind up on you in regular use. On the other side of this handle, we have the file. I'm not very impressed with this file. Firstly, the cross cut doesn't come all the way to the tip of the file, meaning that the tip of the file is basically useless. Additionally, they have this odd hole in the side of the file, which means anything you're trying to use on the side of the file could potentially get caught or stuck in that hole, which is kind of a detractor. Additionally, there's no diamond coating on either side of this file, which I know that's a Leatherman specific feature, but it's one that I've grown to like. I would like to start seeing other multi-tool manufacturers start adding it to their files. Let's go ahead and take a look at the auxiliary tools that are offered. On the left-hand handle, we have the bit adapter, which we'll review in a little bit with the bit kit. We have the awl, which has a really nice sharp edge on it and has an excellent piercing tip on it. So I do like the awl on this particular tool. And then we have a flathead / pry bar tool, which has a really nice chisel tip on it. I think you could actually do some pretty nice woodworking with this chisel tip. I was really glad to see that they had that kind of machined down compared to some of Leatherman's offerings, which are very blunted. On the right hand handle, we have the jeweler's eyeglass bit, which is a flathead. We have the bottle opener / flathead screwdriver, which looks actually pretty nice. We have the Phillips drive, which I really like this Phillips drive. It's not a 2D Phillips drive, it's a full 3D Phillips drive, and it has a really nice tip on it. It's relatively precise, which is going to be great for doing a wide range of tasks. Everything from taking hinges off a door frame to minor computer equipment repair, like on installing a hard drive, for example, or even a little bit heavier duty work out in the garage. So a very versatile Phillips head on this particular multi-tool, which I was really happy to see. Some of the other multi-tools I've been reviewing, they have really blunted Phillips head bits on them, which make them somewhat limited in their use. And finally, we have the can opener with the included small flathead screwdriver. I will note that the can opener, the grind on it seemed to be a little bit sloppy. As you get closer to the piercing tip there, the can opener actually gets a little bit wider and more blunted, which is kind of odd. I think it might be a mistake in the grinding process. That being said, I don't really use the can opener very much anymore, and it is serviceable. Let's go ahead and take a quick look at the bit kit that comes with this multi-tool. It comes in this nice plastic carrying case, so everything stays together and you don't lose your bits. And I do like the assortment that they included. They have everything from a couple Phillips head bits, some flathead bits, and then an assortment of Torx bits. So it's going to fit a lot of different use cases. The other benefit here is these are just, if I can get one out, standard 1/4 inch drive bits. So if you don't see what you need in here, you can switch them out for something that you already have in your toolkit. To use these bits, there's two different ways to do it. The first is with this bit adapter, and one has a square hole and the other has the hex hole. So the square hole just goes over this drive adapter. It is spring loaded, but it has some like springs on the side here, but it doesn't seem to fit super snugly. It's not like it's going to fall off, but it's not like a socket drive where it locks into place. But that being said, it seems to work pretty well with the bits that are included. Taking this Phillips bit for example, it is magnetic. They just snap right in place, and you can either use it in this right angle configuration like a socket wrench, or in a more straight configuration like you would a normal screwdriver. Additionally, if you just have a quick and dirty job that needs to get done and you don't want to go through the hassle of putting the bit adapter on, and the end of the tool, you can just squeeze the bit between the base of the plier heads. The tool will be slightly open, so you can make sure that stays locked in place. And for quick jobs, it works pretty good. My final takeaway on this is if you need a multi-tool with a great set of pliers, this is going to be a big win for you. Or if you use the bit drivers frequently, having a multi-tool such as this that uses standard 1/4 inch bits is going to be great. That being said, if you find yourself reaching for the knife functions of your multi-tool most frequently, this multi-tool might not be the best one for you. When you draw your knife out, it clumps with the other tools, And I'm just not real impressed with the lockup function that the SOG has on this particular tool. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit that like button below, and don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss any of my future videos. Cheers!